This is your one and only FireSpark81 with your daily dose of video goodness, and today we are taking a look at some tips and tricks to help you dominate in V Rising Gloomrot. Let's get to it. So the first tip I have for you is make use of the traders. So before Gloomrot, the traders were half useless and there wasn't that many of them, but now there is a bunch of different trading posts that I actually covered in a previous video, which I will link down below if you missed that. Covers everything you need to know about traders. But they are super handy now for getting books that you are missing and for buying fish to feed to prisoners. Gone are the days of having to worry about fishing. You can now just buy all the fish that you need. The next tip I have is keep an eye out for people who are glowing red. This indicates that they are a high level blood unit. You can spot them really easy because they have a unique glowing red aura, as you see on the screen. Keep an eye out for this plant here. This is the plague briar and it is super important. You're going to need it for a bunch of things late game. If you see it, harvest it, even if you don't need it right now. Ideally, you want to be growing this stuff. I have yet to get a seed to drop from just harvesting it. However, it is possible to buy the seeds from it from one of the vendors in Silverlight. Keep in mind that they won't always have the seeds for sale because their stock rotates. One of the biggest things you're going to need this for in the later game is for summoning banshees if you want to go about the banshee route for getting spectral dust. Speaking of plants, that leads me to my next tip, which is start growing your garden as soon as you start to get seeds. One of the awesome things about this update is we now have the planter pots or the garden pots, which you need in order to plant stuff. These pots can be put inside your base, so now you can garden within your base. As soon as you start to see seeds, start planting them immediately. Not only do you need a bunch of the stuff that you're going to get seeds for in abundance, but you are also going to need a bunch of pollen for coarse thread, which you can get by putting any type of flower inside the grinder. After playing for a short time, you're going to start to get tier 1 jewels. Any tier 1 jewels that you are not using, break them down for the resources. You won't have tier 1 jewels for very long before you start seeing tier 2 jewels drop, and then you'll quickly get the ability to craft tier 2 jewels, so there isn't much reason to keep and hang on to the tier 1 jewels. Break them down, get the crude gems from them, and then turn those crude gems into their upgraded version and use those to make tier 2 jewels. This next tip is one that may be obvious for many people out there, but it was not for me, and I was a little bit confused, and it actually took me a little while to figure this one out. One of the things you're going to need in abundance from the Gloomrot is the sludge-filled canisters. You will get the ability to make the canisters, but it's not completely clear on how you fill them with sludge. You fill them with sludge by going to one of the areas that has the sludge in it on the map in Gloomrot and having those containers in your inventory on your hotbar, and then just using them like you do the water skins or the glass vials, and you will fill them with sludge. One of the new things that they added to the game are the legendary weapons. The downside to these legendary weapons is they didn't really add them in a way that makes sense. They only come in 2 tiers and at 2 specific points in the game. You're gonna outgrow the blue ones really quickly, and it's gonna be a situation where it'll be better for you because you'll have a higher gear level to just use the normal weapons instead of the legendary weapons. The other legendary weapons you are going to get are going to be at max level. It makes a little more sense to use them at max level, but you're also not going to be using them very long if you're playing PvE because you will have just about beat the game. Honestly, I think they need a bit of a rework and they should drop at varied levels, but nah. Anyway, on to the tip. The tip is some of these legendary weapons are worth farming and looking for, and those are the ones that have an increased harvest rate on them. My advice to you is to actually seek out one of each type of these weapons with increased harvest rate and try to find some with the highest amount of increased harvest rate you can find, because this number is going to vary, but this increased harvest rate can drastically reduce your time grinding for resources. You wouldn't think that it's going to give you a lot of additional resources, but it does, and it starts to add up very fast. fast. So even if you're not using these as your main weapon, get them for harvesting. And you can see on the screen the difference using one of these weapons makes. The interesting thing about this is this increased harvest rate can actually get you a bonus on resources even if you are using an item that is not made to harvest that specific thing you are harvesting. So for example, using axes to harvest stone instead of using a mace. However, of course, if you are using a mace that has increased resource harvesting on it on stone, you are going to get drastically more resources. And the last tip I have for you is this spot or this area and any spots down here are the new best spots to claim on the map. And the reason for this is there is a large gap down in this area next to Silverlight where there needs to be a teleporter and there isn't one. So by claiming a base spot down here, you put the necessary teleporter there. There are teleporters to get you to just about any other location on the map in a very short distance, except for this location on the lower part of Silverlight. So if you are on a fresh server, I highly recommend running to this location and claiming an area around here as quickly as possible. This will give you a massive advantage when it comes to travel time. All right, that's all I have for you for this one. Hopefully you found this video helpful and informational. If you did, consider hitting the subscribe button and notification bell so you can be notified when I upload other videos. And if you're looking for some more V Rising content, you can find a link to another one of my videos on the screen right now. I want to give an absolute massive shout out and thank you to all of my channel supporters for helping to keep these videos sponsor free. You all are absolutely amazing people. If you would like to become an official channel supporter, check out the links in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy, you don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up button and share your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.